Destroying a house of worship of any faith community is really targeting the jugular vein of that community. I know. I saw the burning and destruction of my synagogue. I endured war and hunger and persecution, and with pain, the loss of my family in the crematoria of Auschwitz and Lublin.
From East Synagogue on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, welcome to the United Nations International Holocaust Remembrance Service, commemorating the 77th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Mizmor LeDavid, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd.
Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai Roi lechad, Elot b'sheyar nisei, Amen luchot na'areli. Nafshi yoshevet, Nafshi yoshevet, Yakeini v'mayei tzedek, Leman leman shemo shemo. Gam ki elech bebeit almet, Lo yirah imani, Shtiftecha u'mishantecha, Shtiftecha u'mishantecha, Emoi la'amoni. Ach tov v'chesed, yirgefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, le'orech yamim.
The keynote prayer, Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Eitz Chaim hi, lama chazikim ba, v'tomcheha me'osha.
Secretary General, Excellencies, friends, thank you for joining us at the UN International Holocaust Remembrance East Synagogue service. United in prayer, our prayers will be answered and the world will be spared from the plague that has afflicted all of humanity during these last 2 years. As a Holocaust survivor, I'm particularly grateful to the Secretary General and to members of the Diplomatic Corps for your participation and commitment, saying never again be silent and indifferent in face of man's inhumanity to man. Mass murder perfected with the introduction of crematoria in Auschwitz and other places like Theresienstadt and Lublin that claimed the lives of 6 million of the Jewish people, men, women, and children, including my own family in the crematorium of Auschwitz. With the burning of my synagogue in Vienna, my birthplace, Vienna, Austria, in 1938, is a reminder that the hate mongers' targets are always houses of worship that are dear and close to a faith community. Only last week, Jews were held hostage in Beth Israel congregation in Collywell, Texas. The perpetrator flying all the way from England to commit this vicious attack. Jewish community still mourns in Pittsburgh, Tree of Life Synagogue. Again, Jews at prayer slaughtered, or Poway at Halle in Germany. And we can go on mentioning the various threats and challenges to synagogue, but not only synagogues. Security had to be augmented to all houses of worship, because if a jugular vein of a faith community wants to be hit, houses of worship is the jugular vein. Be it a church, be it a mosque, be it a temple, and of course, the primary target, synagogues. And we learn one thing: hatred does not stop in one place, it spreads. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. Having survived, I pledged I will devote my life to eradicate anti-Semitism and any form of hatred, to make sure that no other people would have to suffer and have the atrocities committed, perpetrated than the Jewish people. The world was deprived of 1.5 million Jewish children who were murdered. Many of them would have made a tremendous difference and impact on our daily lives. Never again was my hope and dream, a dream shattered by persistent anti-Semitism, xenophobia, racism, all forms of hatred, and Holocaust denial, particularly today, exacerbated by societal upheaval, social media, and pandemic conspiracy theories, as well as the camouflaged anti-Zionism, which is really also a manifestation of anti-Semitism. In the midst of the world pandemic, with vaccine and mask-mandated debate, anti-vaxxers and cancers show up at municipal meetings wearing yellow stars, equating themselves with the victims of the Holocaust. I was forced to wear a yellow star to be marked for dehumanization and death. For anyone to wear a yellow star after 1945 is not ignorance. It's a sign of vicious hatred. Distorted Holocaust analogy can only be countered through education. Children are born to love. They are taught how to hate. They must be guided not just to tolerate others, but to respect, love your neighbor. Yes, love yourself, but also love your neighbor as yourself. And then finally, it is reassuring. Thank you, Secretary General, my dear friend, for your persistent commitment to fight anti-Semitism, xenophobia, racism, all forms of bigotry. You're there. We can count on you. Particularly those of us of the diminished Holocaust survivors appreciate your repeated, forthright statements as a leader of conscience for the sake of the welfare of all humanity. The United Nations Holocaust Educational Program heightened worldwide awareness to the tragedy of the Holocaust. Very significant that recently the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution at the initiative of the State of Israel, introduced by Ambassador Gilad Erdan, the permanent representative, in cooperation and support of both the United States and Germany and many, many, many nations that understand to refute the Holocaust is a clear message by the international community to those revisionists of history who seek to distort in order to propagate anti-Semitism. We cannot change the past, but we remember, we must, and learn from it, and be alert, particularly in these challenging times, a world of turmoil, conflict, and confusion. May each one of us make a commitment on this anniversary of the 77th liberation of Auschwitz. Let us make a solid commitment that we will follow the mission statement of Patriarch Abraham, our patriarch, guided, anchor for Jews, Christians, Muslims. And his mission statement, be a blessing. Be a blessing. Let each of us make a commitment to be a blessing to family, to our country, and to a united, hopefully united, humanity. God bless you all, and thank you for your participation.
Dear Rabbi Schneier, dear Holocaust survivors, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It is my honor to join you today as we commemorate the 77th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Once again, COVID-19 has forced us apart, but I take comfort in knowing that we are united in solidarity, friendship, and shared purpose. I'm deeply grateful to Rabbi Schneier and all of the other survivors who humble and inspire us with their resilience and their example. We join together, first and foremost, to honor the memory of those who perished, to ensure they are never forgotten, to give them, as it says in the book of Isaiah, a monument and a name. As we remember the loss of so many, we reflect on the loss of so much. 6 million futures stolen away, each a human being, each a universe unto themselves. Entire communities wiped out, an entire world, the world of the shtetl, vanished forever. The magnificent mosaic of Jewish life in Europe destroyed. Dear friends, the very essence of the work of the United Nations for dignity and human rights, for justice and peace, is to give meaning to the pledge of never again. Anti-Semitism and other forms of religious bigotry are a seismograph. The more they rattle our world, the greater the cracks to the foundation of our common humanity. And today, the cracks are impossible to ignore. Anti-Semitism, the oldest form of hate and prejudice, is resurgent yet again. Almost every day brings new reports of verbal assaults and physical attacks, of cemeteries desecrated and synagogues vandalized. Just last week, we watched in horror as a rabbi and members of his congregation were held hostage in their synagogue in Texas. Around the world, Jewish boys are warned not to wear the kippah in public for fear of being assaulted. Around the clock, Jewish schools need police stationed outside. And we see many other contemporary manifestations of the centuries-old hatred. We sense it in the startling regularity with which conspiracy theories devolve into heinous anti-Semitic tropes. We see it in the reprehensible way in which protesters against life-saving vaccines demonstrate wearing the yellow star. And we recognize it in the deeply disturbing attempts to deny, distort, or minimize the Holocaust, which are finding fertile ground on the internet amidst growing ignorance and disdain. In this connection, I welcome new efforts by the General Assembly and others to clearly define and actively combat Holocaust denial. I was alarmed to learn recently that barely half of the adults worldwide have even heard of the Holocaust. The lack of knowledge amongst the younger generations is worse still. Our response to ignorance must be education. Governments everywhere have a responsibility to teach about the horrors of the Holocaust. The United Nations, including through our Holocaust outreach program, is at the forefront of this crucial work. We know that when young people learn about the Holocaust, they can better understand the fragility of shared values and democratic institutions, particularly in times of social and economic upheaval. They can learn to detect eerie echoes of the past in the prejudice, xenophobia, and anti-refugee rhetoric of our own time. And by recognizing how easily hate speech can turn to hate crime, they can understand the dark paths it may lead us down if left unaddressed. They may ask why the victims' desperate pleas for help were met with deafening silence, why so few spoke out and fewer still stood up in solidarity. And in asking these questions, they can understand how such silence in the face of hate is complicity. They can understand that the mass murder did not occur in a vacuum, but that it was the culmination of millennia of hatred and discrimination. No society is immune to intolerance or irrationality. My own country, Portugal, is marred by this history too. I've spoken to you before about the expulsion of our Jewish population at the turn of the 16th century, an act of cruelty that caused tremendous suffering, and an act of stupidity that produced centuries of stagnation for the country. Understanding our past is crucial to safeguarding our future. Dear friends, 77 years ago, liberation ended the Holocaust. But it was just the beginning of our efforts to make sure such crimes can never happen again. As fewer and fewer can bear direct witness, let us together pledge to always remember and make sure others never forget. Let us stand firm against hate and bigotry anywhere and everywhere. Let us do the work of Tikkun Olam, to do what we can do to repair our world. And let us stand together for human rights and dignity for all. Thank you.
At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise for the memorial prayer, the Keil Malay, chanted by our chief cantor, Helfgott. faith and not fear sustains us. And even on their death march to crematoria, they chanted, Ani ma'amin be'emunah shlema. We have faith in you, O God.
Ani ma'amin be'emunah shlema be'vias haMashiach. Ani ma'amin.
1.5 million children perished in the Holocaust, murdered, gassed, killed, simply because of their religion, simply because they were Jewish.
The Nazis forced all the children to wear yellow stars. They were marked, but that did not define them. Each one was unique, just like me, and we will not forget them.
Rachel Sarah Osmo, born in Corfu, Greece, and murdered at the age of 8 in Auschwitz.
Adele Kurzweil, Graz, Austria, killed at 17.
Shabbatai Shimi, born in the town of Bitola, Macedonia, and killed at 13 years old.
Zalman Levinson, born in Riga, Latvia, killed at age 12.
Judith Schwed, born in Kiskunfeliaza, Hungary, gassed at age 12.
Judith Margaret Kanoy, born in Amsterdam, Netherlands, and died at 13.
Ruth Lasker, Danzig, Poland, killed at Auschwitz at age 14.
Lili Hirsch, born in Targi Mures, Transylvania, she died at the age of 12 in gas chambers in Auschwitz.
Ruth Pressburger, killed in Auschwitz, age 8.
Pierre Wolkovich, Bagnolet, France, killed at age 15.
I'm about to recite the memorial Kaddish. I want to dedicate it to the 6 million of our people, men, women, and children, who perished, life extinguished, including my own grandparents, Rabbi Moses Bergman, Tova Bergman, my father's father, Joseph Schneier, uncles, cousins, family members who never made it. The Kaddish Memorial Prayer, which is recited by the mourner, does not mention death at all. We don't ask God why. We ask God for faith, how to carry on after the great loss. And that really has been our strength to carry on after the Holocaust, and then the emergence of Holocaust survivors to start a new life in Israel, Europe, United States. Yes, l'chaim, to life. I will recite the mourner's Kaddish. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad divrach Yerusei, v'yamich b'chusei, v'chay yechon v'yom yechon v'chay l'chol beis Yisrael, b'agolo v'zman kori v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah v'rach l'olod maya, yisborach v'yishtabach v'yispar v'yisramam v'yistasei, yisadar v'yisadar v'yisalol shemei l'kudisha b'richu, leila min kol v'chasa b'shirasa, tishb'chasa b'nachem asa damir v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We conclude that memorial prayer and we ask God for shalom, shalom, salam, peace.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru imru Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Children represent continuity, extension of life, yes, eternity. And so we always hope and pray. We want something better, a world of peace, a world of kindness, a world of generosity for the children, our future. Our Father, our King, remove pestilence and sword, famine and plunder, destruction and iniquity, plague and misfortune, all disease and obstruction, all persecution and baseless enmity from your children, for us and all humanity. Let us say, Amen.